Anna, come. Hi, I'm Adriaan Rees from Amsterdam, Holland, and at the moment I'm in Georgia, in Tbilisi, and I'm working at the Art Academy. And I'm working at the ceramic department, also with the help of some students. And I'm making a sculpture piece, and it's called New Yawner, a gaper, for the Tea Culture Club here in Tbilisi. At the moment you see the piece. Of course it's not ready. I made it from Georgian clay. A lot of pieces are just loose on it, not sticked yet, because the work is in raw clay. It's not yet fired, it's still drying. I'm still working on it. And later I assemble all kind of pieces, and then it will be ready for firing and then glazing and then maybe even painting. Why I'm here in Georgia? It's a long story. It started in Amsterdam, Holland, when I made a sculpture piece for a shop in Holland. That sculpture piece, hanging outside in the shop, made me somehow a few years ago quite famous. It was a long tradition for making sculpture pieces outside the shop, but it almost disappeared. When the last one of these sculptures were taken away, I decided to make a new one. That new one became very popular in the city and also for tourists and also for the media. Somehow I met a friend. His name is Moychay.ge, and he owns a tea culture club in Amsterdam, Holland. And he invited me to make a sculpture for his shop, to hang outside above his shop. And I did. And that was actually the second portrait, the second head I made for a shop outside. And then he told me about Georgia, that he also has a tea culture club, a shop, a tea shop in Tbilisi. And he said, why don't you come with me? And so I went with him to Georgia last January. And I really found it so inspiring and so interesting with the history and the culture that I really wanted to make a sculpture piece for the Tea Culture Club here in Tbilisi. But where to make it? And I went to a ceramic place, and I didn't like it so much. And then I thought I should make contact with the Art Academy. But how to make contact? And finally I found one of the teachers. Her name is Leah, and she introduced me to the head of this department. And I said, please give me a place to work. I can be like a guest artist, and I want to work with Georgian clay, but I also like to join this project with some students. And I especially went to Georgia to make it here at the place. And to make it with this Georgian clay, that was maybe one of the most exciting parts, because I do not know the clay and it's not typical sculpture clay. And finally, slowly, I found out with the help of students. And now I'm making this piece, and it's just like a 3-week residency. And things are getting on one hand very slow, but most important thing is that I can work with the students and they give me a lot of inspiration. Okay, now you see the portrait, the head, how it will be a little bit later when it's finished. The horns, the tea leaves, the tongue with a tea leaf, a teacup, and you also see a lot of holes. That's needed because I work with solid clay, and later I need to take that clay out. I already did, and I'm making all kind of holes to let the air through so that it can also dry from the inside, and later I will close it again. I'm using a lot of symbolic things that have to do with tea and it also has a big relation with the history of Georgia. I want to use Georgian clay, but not only that, I was looking for something like a Georgian face. I have not a real clue what a Georgian face is. I got the help from one of the students, After, and he helped me with making this face more like a Georgian face. That's what it already makes important, that I'm not working in Holland in my own studio, that I'm not just working in Georgia in some ceramic studio, but I really work with the students. So this also became like something like a collaboration project. So I like to introduce the student after, and then he can also tell something how he did. Jealous that I could be in this beautiful building. Somehow it feels like I'm in a zoo.
Yeah, because this looks like it's cage.
Yeah. It's...
This room is also very interesting. You can show.
It's also very strange that still this part is here. I'm here with two of the students. This is After and this is Anna. Besides that I'm making a sculpture, I'm also doing some sort of small master class. And the students are also making their own portraits. And later in the project we will really work together. But for my sculpture for the Tea Culture Club, I already worked together with one of the students, and that's After, because he's quite easy and smart with sculpting. He showed me how to make a Georgian face, because he's not really talking in, in English. Anna, who is much better in English, she will explain a little bit more how we worked. Take care. As I said before, when I made this piece, I asked Afto to work on the Georgian part, because you never know how this sculpture will come out of the kiln. I started to work on a little bit smaller one, a second one, and that's this one, and I call it the Batman face, but in fact I did like this. So I asked Afto also on this face to work on it. So this is a Georgian face, this is also a Georgian face, but in a different way. Still more rough, but that's what I like about this piece. So it will not touch it too much anymore, and it will be totally different than this piece. But also in collaboration with this guy.
Avto is saying that he was always interested in learning the faces of the Georgian people. From childhood, he's seen a lot of different faces. He mostly learned it by watching his teachers and also making some experiments by himself. So nowadays he could help Adriaan. So basically, Georgian faces have a lot of unique features. So Auto will explain with his hands what parts are most unique. He said the parts of the eyes and the eyebrows are very unique. Georgian people tend to have small eyes and also eyebrows are thick. For some people it's connected. The shape of the face is also very interesting. It's a strong shape of the face, very sharp. That's common from Georgian, and he says that it expressed the strength of the soul in Georgian people. When Adriaan came with our teacher Leah, we were instantly interested in his work, in his plans in Georgia. So we started talking to him and we suggested the help. So he was very open to receive the help from us, and we decided for the students to make one piece with the usual Georgian clay. It's from Ksani, and other piece we made shamot by ourselves with powdered brick, and this was also a very interesting process making the shamot clay. And we're planning to make another face with the shamot, and then we have high hopes for the exhibition. A few words about my piece. It's inspired by my grandma, which is the most important person in my life. I had this bad feeling that I was not seeing her quite often. She's alive, and I was not seeing her quite often, and I kind of forgot her face, and I decided to make the face that I remembered, and it's totally different from my grandma, and it's a very painful process for me. This piece is not supposed to be perfect with the shape, with the sculpture, because I'm not a sculptor, and I'm just making a face with my emotion, and I'm calling it my grandma. This is our friend Christine. So her work is about her fear of the darkness, and with this work of art she's trying to fight the fear, to defend it. She says the story that when she's in the dark room she used to sing or dance, talk loudly as a child, so it's very important for her to fight the fear. And I think the very important part of the sculpture is the back part, because it has the support system and it represents the art of the support for her to beat the fear.
As you know, I started this project in 2023 when I came to Georgia. So I started a masterclass and I also started to make my own work. This work, it's really influenced by the history of Georgia. One of the things in Georgia is that already in old days they have a really tradition about gold, because you can find gold in Georgia. So I said, okay, one thing is for sure, I really wanted to make my sculpture in gold. But, of course, not real gold, but a layer of gold paint, and I make it in ceramics because that's my main material. Then I also was doing some research about the history of Georgia, and I came up with this famous myth about the golden fleece. And elements from the golden fleece I also put in this work, together with what was really important for me to say something about tea, because I make this sculpture for the Tea Culture Club in Tbilisi. So you find all kinds of elements also about tea, like tea leaves, like tea pots, like a cup, etc. So at this moment, I'm here back in 2025. The piece had to be dry and had to be fired already in 2023. I refired it when I'm here now again. And at this moment, I'm gluing all these pieces together. And it takes days, quite difficult, because all these pieces are in very difficult positions. And at the moment, I'm painting the tea leaves, and tomorrow, when everything is dry, I'm going to add this on the sculpture. Next week, we will have a presentation in the tea club with works from the students, and with this piece, and with some teachers. And I hope it will be a big success, and that the idea about putting this kind of genres, gapers we say in Dutch, all tradition from Amsterdam in Europe, and also hopefully a new tradition in Tbilisi in Georgia.
We're doing a project in Tea Club, and I'm doing a sculpture. I'm doing a mixed media piece, glass and ceramics. Last year, when I met Adriaan, I was making a fish sculpture, but it broke, so I only got pieces. Then I put those pieces in raku kiln, and then now, 2 years after, I put them in a glass. And now it's a fish in the aquarium. It took 2 years for that fish to transform into a new fish. And I also have my own personal project, We Don't Know Fish, which means I try to get to know different fishes and give them a new life and perspective. And it's really nice to work with Adriaan too, and very interesting and challenging in its own ways. Well, we'll see how it works out, because I haven't finished that piece yet. I also have to construct little metal wires, and then, oh, my baby's crying, I gotta go. Cut!
There is two things I have to say about me. I'm really in love with ceramics and also my grandma. So maybe you remember from 2 years ago, we were also shooting the video and I was making the sculpture of the face of my grandma. So since then, a lot of things changed and I'm very glad it did. For today, I'm living with my grandma and I'm very happy that it turned out like this. And I'm very proud that I could do this for myself and spend some time with the person that I love the most, even though I know for a fact that maybe someday it will hurt the most as well. So about the second part of the love that I have in this life is about ceramics. That's why I'm trying to go into the deep parts of it, because I think when you truly love something, you want to know as much as you can about it, and that's why I started my own journey. I just threw away all the plastic wrapped ceramics that I bought from the shop and that I was working with them, because they were giving me so much comfort. There were no cracks, there were no problems. I mean, there were, but not so often. I didn't know what was inside of the material that I was touching. I was not really, I didn't get to know it so well because it was impossible to me. So that's why I started traveling around the country and collecting the clay from all the parts of Georgia. So I think that's one of the most brightest points in my life, in my past already, but I'm also still continuing to do that. So when I'm deeply in the ground and digging for some clay, I'm always reminded of my childhood because from that time I was trying to make something out of dirt, to cook something maybe, or to make some sculptures. So it's kind of continuing the same for me, and I think when we are children we know the best what we want in our life, and every time we feel a little lost we can always come back to our past where we had no obligations. People had no such thing as stereotypes about us, so we were free. My main working style, if I can say so, is throwing on the wheel because it's making me very calm. I like that the process is going very fast and you can see the progress, because sometimes I'm very restless, I can say. And I don't like the straight in me because ceramists should know how to wait, they say, and I just sometimes forget that.
Hello, my name is Elena. I'm 20 years old and I'm studying ceramics in Arts of Academy in Tbilisi, Georgia. Here are some my artworks. This one, I wanted to express myself from this work and to find my style. It was like an experimental sculpture. I wanted to make some different techniques of glazing to say that it was like me, myself. Through these days, I made these two pieces about freedom. And for me, the freedom is like in the nature, in the ocean. I really like to swim in the sea, lying on the water. I like the feeling of the water, and I wanted to recreate when I made these two pieces, I wanted to follow the nature forms of the air, water, and I wanted to use that airy movement in the clay, and the clay gives me an opportunity to do whatever I want, and it helps me to express myself and express what I feel. For me, it's like a form of the freedom when I can express myself.
Hello, my name is Moychay.ge and I am 20 years old artist in Georgia, and I'm studying in Art of Academy on ceramic degree. I think the freedom for me is just to be yourself, because often I feel like I'm a piece of clay that needs the personal touches to end up with something, because I'm the creator of my life, of myself, and all the decisions and choices I am making affects on myself and my life, and that's the ability and opportunity that I have, and I think that's the process that I admire the most, because it's more interesting and most beautiful thing that you are exploring yourself, and all the process is very important for me to be in this exploration and observation. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Natalie. I study ceramic. I'm on master's degree first year student. Before this, I studied also ceramic, the bachelor's degrees 4 years. So then I'm here. The piece I'm holding right now, I'm the most proud of this piece because it's my second big sculpture for me. This is two different clay, but same temperature. Thing and idea of this was to I had too much clay, so let's give it a try. So I tried my best, did it, and almost didn't fit in the kiln. So I'm proud that it fits and it was fired. Both it's big and how it came out, and mostly how it came out. That feeling I most of the time feel when I'm traveling with people, and for me it's kind of like whole vibe that you travel with the people, the right people, and the memories also you share at that moment. You feel that every time, for I think so, because even in your dreams you kind of feel that freedom. It just you are unconscious, but you just feel it. Also in music, walking, and thinking, maybe.
I'm Tamar Taritoidze. I am sculptor. Now I am studying in Master of Sculpture, Master of Ceramic Art. In this project, I try to make new version for my style. I usually make big sculpture, big forms, which is present big fat girls. I usually do this sculpture, but this material and also this style is very different for my series, for my art, and I'm happy to participate this group exhibition because I try to different everything, different material and different styles to make.
My name is Tiko. I'm 19 years old. This is my first year in art school. I study ceramics, and this is this wild clay that I'm using. I really like flowers because I found freedom in nature, and flowers are really important nature thing to me because it's really open and it describes freedom really well. And also flowers remind us that not everything lasts forever and we should enjoy everything in the moment, and I think we should really appreciate what we have right now, and I think that's what brings me freedom, because I need to stay in the present and not look for the past or for the future. And I'm trying to make a lily's flower that just sort of blooms sort of way.
My works usually showcase the freedom of mind, and I'm meaning that when I was working with them and when I had the finished piece, I was feeling the most free in my life, and I have this freedom of will, and I think that's the most important. So the main inspiration for me was natural forms, and I think they are also very free and freeing. So when I was working, once again, it was giving peace of mind, it was giving the freedom of will, and that's why I was always using the materials from nature, and I was trying to connect them to my works of art.
We are in the Tea Culture Club in Tbilisi. In a way, this is the final point. The sculpture is ready, and as you know, I used all kinds of tea elements, like the tea leaves, the tea sea, the tea pots, and the tea leaves here, and I used the gold. The gold because of Georgia, the tea because it's for a tea shop. And I started this project in 2023, and now it's 2025. I could make it in the Art Academy here in town, and because I made it in the Art Academy, I did a master class. So not only I'm presenting this piece now here in the Tea Club, but we also made a presentation with all students. And that's actually my whole idea. That it's not just a piece, not just a piece in a tea shop, but that also the students are involved. That young people will come back to the tea shop, that young people get inspired by this kind of projects, and that this whole exchange between tea and art and young people will go on forever.